My trip with Dad on the California Skunk train. Belongs to Dad and me. I'm pretty crazy about trains. I can make this train go fast or slow, or change directions and back it up. Isn't that neat? And now I can stop it this way. Tomorrow, Dad and I are going to take a trip on one of my favorite trains, the California Skunk train. Come on in, I'll tell you all about it.
I'm pretty excited. How about you?
Me too.
All right, put your seatbelt on. Okay, here we go. Remember this big bridge?
Yeah.
We crossed it before when Mom and I took you on our picnic.
So Dad and I started driving up the coast from San Francisco to Fort Bragg. That's the town where we're going to get on the skunk train. Did I tell you why it's called the skunk train? Well, a long time ago when the train first started running, everyone thought the train smelled kind of funny because of the smoke and everything. So they said that it smelled like a skunk. And after that, everyone called it the California Skunk train.
Let me get the lunch.
This is so neat, Dad. Look at the train. Is that the man who runs the train?
Yeah, that's the engineer. The engineer and the fireman both run the train.
Look at all that smoke.
Well, that's not smoke. That's steam. That's why they call it a steam train. Now that's smoke. And those big piston rods drive the wheels, just like our model train, but a lot bigger. Matthew, you got the tickets.
Tickets, please.
Dad and I have a model train. I can run it by myself.
You can? Well, perhaps what you need is some experience in the cab of a real engine. I'll speak to the engineer, and maybe we can arrange something later in the day.
Neat. Can I do that, Dad?
We'll have to wait and see if it's okay with the engineer.
All aboard!
Sure, you can do just about anything you want to, Matthew.
Yep. These are redwoods here, right, Dad?
This is mostly river brush.
Oh, yeah. I can see the river up ahead. It looks like we're crossing over a little bridge.
Mm-hmm, just like our model train.
But I think this train's a little older, Dad.
Oh, yeah.
Is it older than you are? Older than that?
It's probably a little older than I am.
Well, Dad, why are there trains anyway?
You mean, why did they build them?
I'm glad they did.
I'll bet you are.
Well, Dad told me all about it. How even before there were airplanes and cars, people used trains to get from one place to another. And trains like this one, the California Skunk, were logging trains. When they cut down trees to make lumber, they'd use trains like this one to haul the trees out of the woods. And that it was really hard to build a railroad, building all the bridges, all the railroad trestles like this one to get from one hill to another. And then they have to lay down all the railroad tracks. And even then, before the train could start running, they'd have to make sure the tracks are straight and even, so the train and all the people on it would be safe. Did you see that? How the train went into the tunnel? It was really dark in there. Trains are pretty neat. That chugging sound is the noise the piston makes when it moves back and forth to make the wheels go around. Well, trains are pretty loud anyway. Besides the chugging sound and all the steam, there's the noise of the engine. And then there's this really neat noise the wheels make when the train goes around the bend. They call that singing. train trestles were really neat. Then the skunk train traveled through the forest for quite a while. Sometimes we go for miles and miles and miles without seeing a single house. Just going around bend after bend. Sometimes through groves of smaller trees growing alongside the river. And then through stands of really tall redwood trees that almost seemed like they reached up out of the forest to the sky. Dad said this was the way our country looked a long time ago, when there were fewer people and more animals and plants and trees. I liked it a lot. Then I could see we were coming to a little town called Norseburg. This is where the train stops, and where Dad and I were going to have our picnic lunch.
And a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for you, and a turkey mayo lettuce and tomato sandwich for me.
Matthew, I've got exciting news. I've spoken to the engineer, and he says you can ride up in the cab with us on the way back, just as soon as you finish your lunch.
That's okay, Dad. Really, I'm not that hungry. Really, I'm not.
No, you eat that sandwich first, then you can go.
We'll be up in a short time.
I know what Darcy's gonna do now, Dad. I bet he's gonna put more water in the train for our trip back.
That's good. Well, we're getting ready for you. I'm going to put more water in the train now, Matthew, so the train can use the water to make steam, so the steam can push the pistons, and the pistons can make the wheels go around. That's the way it works.
Do you understand that, Matthew?
Pretty much. I can see how making all that steam uses a lot of water.
Looks like it's almost filled up.
Yeah, it does.
Darcy's going to give you some earplugs to wear up in the cab, because it really gets noisy up there. And you have to be careful because you're going to be right next to the engine. And it gets pretty hot.
I know, Dad. I'll be really careful.
Okay, I think we're ready for you.
All right, Matthew, come on up. Be careful, and you mind the engineer now.
Whoa, he'll do fine. That's a boy who could ride in the fireman's seat. Why some trainmen wear earplugs. It gets pretty noisy up here. Ken's got his hand on the throttle now. And that's the air brake. It stops the train when we need to. Now we use this to control the fire. Put your hand on the firing valve. Okay, that's the way to do it. Fire's just about right. That's good, that's good. We can leave it like that. I'll put the water in the boiler now. I'll put the injector on. Hear that noise? The injector's working. And see up ahead? That's the engine boiler. When the water turns into steam, the steam pushes the piston rods, and they make the wheels go round. That's why they call it a steam engine. Well, we're coming to our first bridge, Matthew. Can you see it up ahead?
I can.
There it is. That's bridge 1017. On a railroad, every bridge has its own number. Those wheels really sing, don't they? Bridge up ahead, Bridge 1857. You can look down and see the water. The river's calm now, but in the wintertime, that water just rushes through there. Sometimes it's going so fast, it knocks down a part of the bridge. Now he's slowing the train down a little bit with a brake. See that sign down there? That's called a mile board, and it tells us where we are. So if we need to, we feed the fire.
Yeah.
We can make the train go faster so we're back in Fort Bragg on time. Okay? I'll just give the fire a little more oil. That should do it. Because it could be something, it could be a big rock, a tree, anything could be there. And then we'd have to yell across to the engineer and tell him what's up ahead. And if we need to, we tell him to hold it or plug it. That means we put the brakes into emergency. He depends on us. You can ring the bell here, Matthew. Okay. We're almost there. We're coming into the little town. Okay? Now ring a good and loud, and that'll tell everyone to be careful and stay away from the train tracks because the train is coming. It's pretty in through here, isn't it?
Yeah.
I like going right down in the middle of all those big redwoods. And we get going pretty fast in through here because the track's nice and straight and we're going downhill. Well, Matthew, our trip's almost over. You'd better ring that bell again and let them know the train's coming back to Fort Bragg. Ken, it's all clear. There's no one near the crossing. We're going to pull into the station now. Well, Matthew, that's the end of our trip.
Hey, Matthew. Did you have a good time?
Yeah.
All right.
Say goodbye to Darcy now.
Goodbye, Darcy.
Goodbye, Matthew. Come again.
I will, Darcy. You're my favorite new friend. He is, Dad. He was really neat. He showed me how to run the train and everything. And I got to ring the bell so people would know we were coming. Well, after that, Dad and I started back home. And I told him about everything I'd learned today. I'd really learned a lot. About how there were steam trains before there were cars, and how people used them to get from one place to another, and to haul lumber and all the other things that people needed, and even about how steam trains work, and about how it feels riding up in the cab, and about how it was really hot and noisy and fun. Also, I met Darcy and made a new friend. Thinking about it, about my trip with Dad on the California Skunk train, I would say it was probably one of the very best days in my whole life. Well, at least so far.